Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. I have an update to share about one of Trump's Capitol insurrectionists. It's time for an episode of Where Are They Now?
Matthew Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
So 47-year-old Georgia resident and Marine veteran Kevin Creek was recorded on body cam footage. He was attacking officers at the Capitol on January 6th. Creek was seen reaching over the bike racks. They were using the bike racks, as you guys probably know, as barriers, and he was grabbing one officer's face shield. So again, this is all on video. He then struck the same officer whose shield he tried to grab. He struck that officer with his right hand, and according to the prosecutors, he drove the officer, quote, backward forcefully several feet. Creek was also seen kicking another officer who was holding a shield, and the prosecutors said that he then, quote, pointed aggressively to his Marine Corps cap as if to emphasize, I'm a Marine. They said this was done, in their view, to, quote, weaponize his military training and experience against police officers. And Creek bragged about all of what he did after the fact. He told one witness that he ran up the Capitol steps and tried to enter the building, but he said that he was hit with tear gas. Creek also told the witness that he sustained bruises at the Capitol, which would indicate that he knew that he did something to cause those bruises, right? However, when Creek was interviewed by the FBI, he all of a sudden had selective amnesia. When the agent showed him photos of himself on the Capitol grounds, he admitted to being there, and he described, they said, in detail, every single area that he had visited at the Capitol. But when they showed him videos of him assaulting multiple officers, Creek said it looked like him, but, quote, he did not remember assaulting any officers. Wonder how he got those bruises. Maybe he thought he fell down the stairs. So he did, however, admit that he carried weapons that day. He told the agents that he had mace and a boot knife with him at the Capitol. He also said that he uploaded photos and he live streamed his actions to Facebook, but he confirmed that he deleted the photos from his phone once he returned from DC. And Creek was asked if he regretted his actions on January 6th, and he just replied, quote, 50-50. So Creek was arrested on June 9th, and he was charged with entering a restricted building or grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, 2 counts of physical violence, civil disorder, and assaulting officers while committing a felony. In December, Creek pleaded guilty to the 1 count of assault. So he was looking at up to 8 years in prison and up to 3 years of probation and up to $250,000 in fines. And Creek's criminal history was brief before this. It was also very dated, so it didn't factor into his sentence. In 2001, they say he was convicted on 1 count of indecent exposure. Must be pretty proud of his junk, like Lauren Boebert's husband, just saying. Anywho, prosecutors were only asking for 27 months in prison, though, followed by 3 years of probation, which is just slightly longer than the low end of the federal sentencing guidelines. The low end is 24 months. Creek's attorney, of course, was requesting probation only. So victim impact statements were read at the sentencing hearing. And one of the officers with the initials of JCM actually credited Creek with initiating the violence in that area, which ended up turning into an all-out battle. The officer stated that he had been able to maintain crowd control with just verbal commands. And he said that was until Creek came along. He said Creek, quote, came out of the crowd, grabbed hold of my vest, pushed me off the line. He explained that the situation then deteriorated after that point, and he said that without the, quote, aggressive actions of Mr. Creek and others, officers, quote, would have stood a better chance. The officer also explained that his wife, who was home with their young child, their 2-year-old child, was agonizing for 4 hours because she couldn't reach him to see if he was okay. And the prosecutor pointed out how Creek only half regretted his actions and that he complained about having to deal with enhanced security screening at the airport because of these charges. But as we've seen over and over again, Creek told a very different story in court. He was so apologetic. He apologized to his family and the families of the officers he attacked. And he said, quote, "The thought that I'm not remorseful is completely not correct. I'm sorry if I caused those officers any trauma in any way, their families any trauma in any way. I'm truly sorry for this. I don't know how else to say it. I've been struggling with this for months. I take full responsibility. I understand my actions." You know who did believe him, though? The most gullible judge in the world, the most gullible judge in the world, Dabney Friedrich. I've talked about her ad nauseum. You guys are probably sick and tired of hearing me talking about her. Anyway, I can't tell if she is just really, truly, completely naive, or if she's incompetent, or if she's just a Trump minion and a January 6th sympathizer. Maybe it's all three. I don't know. But Creek definitely drew the long straw when he got her, and her thoughts on the matter were completely bipolar. First, she said, quote, "Mr. Creek put multiple officers at risk as they retreated." Then Judge Friedrich told Creek, quote, "I do believe your remorse now is genuine and heartfelt, and I appreciate what you said." Then she gushed about his contributions to the community, and she talked about how his roofing business had suffered because of his charges. That happens when you commit crimes. Then she told him, quote, "Mr. Creek, no matter what your political views are, no matter what you thought of the 2020 presidential election, your actions that day were inconsistent with the oath you took as a Marine and inconsistent with those values. As a Marine, you defended the ideals of democracy, and you know that in our country, elections are governed by the rule of law. Assaults against police officers are inconsistent with those values. The unsuccessful attempt to interfere with the peaceful transition of power caused great harm. The actions you took stand in stark contrast to your actions as a Marine." So she was all over the place, but in the end, she sentenced Creek to 27 months in prison and only 1 year of probation. And Creek was ordered to also pay a $2,000 restitution fee. So no community service, no fines. I just hope these officers finally wake up to the reality of who's actually feeding them to the wolves and the terrorists. Even the prosecutors should be ashamed of this for asking for such a short period behind bars. Other people who didn't even assault officers received longer sentences than this guy. The QAnon shaman, Jacob Chansley, got 41 months in prison and 3 years of probation. Not that he's not guilty and didn't deserve some jail time, but he just entered the Senate. He was in there yelling and he prayed. He didn't damage anything. He didn't harm anyone. He didn't physically assault anyone. Why should he get more jail time than someone who violently attacked multiple officers? These sentences make zero sense. It's so frustrating. Should he have gone to jail for prison for 41 months? Probably, but then this guy should get 6 or 7 years or more. Just make it make sense. Oh my God. Anyway, I'll keep you guys posted. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.